Beruchim haboim. Welcome everyone. We're about to begin Be'ezras Hashem together on Daf Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph, starting with Lamed Beis, Amud Beis, 9 lines from the bottom. The Mishnah stated the following distinction. When an Eruv is placed on a tree higher than Asar Tfachim, it's invalid. If it's placed on the tree lower than Asar Tfachim, it's valid. The Gemara explains, when the tree is situated in the Reshus Harabim, and that's where the person is being shoyves for Shabbos, he places the Eruv, he would replace it above Asar Tfachim, and the tree thereby is also the dimensions of Reshus HaYochid, because it's on a place that's also 4 Tfachim wide. Then he would have to then take it from the Reshus HaYochid into then where he's situated, the Reshus HaRabim. And therefore that would be invalid, that would be prohibited to do even during Bein HaShmoshois. But if the Eruv is placed less than that, between 3 and Asar Tfachim, then it has the din of a Karmelis, whereby you can go ahead and take, according to Rebbe, the Eruv from that area of the tree to where he is situated down below, because since I'm taking from Karmelis to Reshus HaRabim is a Shvus, they were not Goizer Shvus, Bebein Hashmoshos B'Makom Mitzvah, and this is a Eruv. Similarly, when it comes to them being Meshamish Be'ilon, there's no Isser being Meshamish Be'ilon over here, because that is Isser D'Rabbanan. And to then use the tree during Bein Hashmoshos, again, according to Rebbe, is not a problem, because B'Makom Shvus Lo Gozu Rabbanan Bebein Hashmoshos B'Makom Mitzvah. The Gemara now further qualifies this understanding of the Mishnah. Omar Rava. Lo shonu ela bi'ilon ha'oimed chutz li'iburoi shel ir. All of this is talking about when the ilon is outside of the iburo shel ir. The iburo shel ir means to say that it's beyond where the houses that are outside of the city. If there are houses that are within 70 2/3 amos of the city, it's considered part of the tchum of the city. Outside of that is considered to be outside the iburo shel ir. That's, Rava says, what we're talking about over here. However, aval ilon ha'oime betoich ibura shel ir, afilu malame asora harei ze eruv. But if the tree that we're talking about is within the ibura shel ir, then he says, even if it's going to be higher than asar tfachim in that tree, it will still be a valid eruv. Why? Explains Rava the following kula. The mata keman the malya damya, because since the whole area is considered to be an enclosed area, then it's all considered to be one Reshus HaYochid. We view it as if the entire area is filled up with dirt, and thereby even above Asar Tfachim in that tree is considered to be a Reshus HaYochid. So therefore he's actually then being shoyves in a makom of the Reshus HaYochid. So even though the Araisa, of course, one cannot physically pick up the Eruv from the Reshus HaYochid and put it down below where he is situated, the Reshus HaRabim, but halachically for the din of Eruv, Rav explains that it would be mutter and valid to use such an Eruv, because it's considered to be all in one Reshus, the Reshus HaYochid. Says the Gemara, if you're going to say such a kula, then afilu chutz li iburo shel ir nami, even when the tree is outside of the iburo shel ir, we can also say that it can be then situated on the tree above Asar Tfachim. Kivan da omar rove hanoisin eruvoi yesh lo arba amos havya lo Reshus HaYochid Reshus HaYochid oila al rakia. Because it explains, since Rav explains that within arba tfachim, the one who then makes the eruv, within that area of arba tfachim is considered to be an enclosed area of a Reshus HaYochid. Therefore, again, even outside the iburo shel ir, he has arba tfachim. So therefore, even if it's above asara tfachim, it's all one Reshus HaYochid. So for eruv purposes, we're going to say a kula that it's all one area, and that would be valid for a eruv. Of course, practically, one cannot take the eruv that is situated above Asar Tfachim from the tree and bring it down below in the Reshus HaRabim, because that would be a problem of transferring a hoitzah from the Reshus HaYochid to the Reshus HaRabim. Therefore, the Gemara explains the following way to understand the Mishnah. Omar Rav Yitzchak Bereid Rav Mashar Shehocha Be'ilon Hanoite Chutz La'arbo Amos Askinon. We're talking about where the tree extends 4 amos. In other words, after you have the tree trunk, then horizontally the branch extends 4 amos across, away from the trunk. On top of Lamed Gimel Amud Aleph, V'niskaven lishbois bi'ikaroi. And the one who's then making the Eruv, he wants to be shoyves in the place where the tree trunk is situated, over there in the Rishus HaRabim. So then, the Gemara says, we have a situation where, if it's above Asar Tfachim, so then one cannot go ahead and take the Eruv to where he is situated, even during Ben HaShmoshes, because it's in the Rishus HaYachid, and he would be taking the Rishus HaRabim. However, if it's within Asar Tfachim, then it's going to be valid, because even though it's further than Arba Tfachim, he can go Pachos Midalid Amos. Even though it's beyond Dalid Amos, he can go Pachos Midalid Amos. And then he can then take that Eruv, and he can then, we said it's all considered to be one Rishus HaYachid, so even though he doesn't take it, but we can say that that's going to be considered to be valid for an Eruv. So again, physically he can't pick it up and put it where he is situated in the Rishus HaRabim, but in regards to Eruv, we say that it's a valid Eruv if it's going to be within Arba, within Asar Tfachim of the ground. Ask the Gemara, if we're talking about a case where it's a tree trunk that then extends a branch horizontally away Arba Amos, so that if it's above Asar Tfachim, where the Eruv is situated, it's invalid. Only if it's less than Asar Tfachim, within 3 and 10 Tfachim, will it be valid. Again, as we stated before, because you can go ahead and b'makam shvus lo gazru, according to Rebbe, and bring the Eruv during Ben HaShmashos technically to where he is. So therefore, ask the Gemara, it's not precise to state in the Mishnah that if it's l'mala me'asar tfachim, it's invalid. If it's l'mata me'asar tfachim, it's valid. Because here we're talking about a horizontal branch. So it's not l'mala or l'mata. It's all one horizontal branch. It's either the branch is high or it's low. If it's higher than asar tfachim, it's invalid. If it's lower than asar tfachim, that's going to be valid. So what is the lashon of the Mishnah? L'mala is invalid and l'mata is valid. Answers the Gemara, Dahadar Zakuf. Here we're talking about where indeed it went horizontally, the branch, but then again it went up. And therefore, we're talking about if it went up, Lamala me'asar tfachim, then it'll be invalid. If it's Lamata me'asar tfachim, then it'll be valid. Ask the Gemara, Vaha'i boy maisi la derech alov. The Gemara asks, but he can climb up the tree, and he can go ahead and get to the Eruv, whereby if he goes on the upper part of the tree, he can even lower it, even if it's above Asar Tfachim. So therefore, if he can then lower it, because they're all considered to be one area of the Rishus HaYachid, and then he can then bring it over the airspace into the Rishus HaYachid, the rest of the part of the tree, thereby it'll be valid even if it's above Asar Tfachim. Answers the Gemara, Kisharabim Mekatfim Alov. We're talking about a situation where, since the place that is only less than Atzar Tfachim of the tree is a place where people will then adjust their loads and put their loads on top of that area, then it has the din of Rishus HaRabim. So that airspace, if he were to then take it off and go through that airspace, it'll be considered to be through a Rishus HaRabim instead of through a Karmelis. By taking the object, in this case the Eruv, from the Rishus HaYachid through the Rishus HaRabim into another Rishus HaYachid, namely the tree, that would be in Isser Deraisa being Moishit. That's a problem. Kedu'ula, like Ula explains, the Omar Ula, Amud Tisha B'Rishus HaRabim, V'Rabim Mekatfim Alav. If you have an Amud, a pillar, in the Rishus HaRabim that is 9 Tfachim high, and the Rabim place their objects on it, they readjust their loads, then it has a din of Rishus HaRabim. V'zorak v'noch al gabov chayiv. If a person were to then throw an object from the Rishus HaRabim, and it would rest on this amud, then it would be chayiv. Either if it's going to be arba amos in the Rishus Harabim, or go from a Rishus Hayochi to this amud, which is considered to be a Rishus Harabim, it would be an Isser Deraisa of Hoitzah. So to over here would not be possible thereby, if it was above Asar Tfachim, to bring it from where it's situated over the airspace, which is a Rishus Harabim, into the Rishus Hayochid again. So therefore we found our case that our Mishnah is speaking about such a scenario that if it's above Asar Tfachim in the tree, it will be invalid. If it's below Asar Tfachim in the tree, then it's valid. Ask the Gemara, my Rebbe or my Rabban, that which we stated before, that all of this is according to Rebbe, that states during Bein HaShmoshos, they weren't Goyzer Shvus B'makam Mitzvah. That means over here, the Eruv is an Eruv of a Mitzvah, and thereby, if it comes to a Karmelis or the tree itself, which is normally a problem with the Mishtamish Be'ilon, here it's not a problem, because it's a Shvus, and therefore, during Bein HaShmoshos, you can bring that Eruv from that tree that's between 3 and Asar Tfachim down below to where he is situated. So that's the sheet of Rebbe. The Gemara wants to then find, where do we find Rebbe in this position? Where do we find the Rabbanan in their position? The Tanya in the following brisa: Nasnoi be'ilon lemala me'asara tfachim. If he places an eruv on a tree higher than 10 tfachim, ein eruv oy eruv. Just like our Mishnah states, it's not going to be a valid eruv. Because again, we're talking about where he's in the Rishus Harabim, the tree is situated in that Rishus Harabim, that's where he's being shoyves. And now the Eruv is above, a place that's above Asar Tfachim in that tree, and he would not be able to then bring that Eruv, which is extending 4 Tfachim away, above the airspace, so therefore it's going to be invalid. Lamata me'asara Tfachim Eruva Eruv. But if it's lower than Asar Tfachim in that tree, it's going to be valid, because it'll be going from the Karmelis to the Rishus Harabim during Bein HaShmoshos is mutter. However, it would be prohibited to actually physically take this, because that he cannot do, since over here we're talking about that he wouldn't physically be able to do during Shabbos. Says the Gemara, because during Shabbos that will be considered to be B'Shtamish B'Ilon. It's only during Bein HaShmoshos where he can do it. B'toich shloish, and whereby the Eruv would be a valid Eruv, but it's also litloi on Shabbos because it would be considered to be Mishamish B'Ilon. B'toich shloisha mutter litloi. However, if it's within 3 tfachim, then we say lavud, and it's considered to be on the ground, and therefore would be mutter to take even on Shabbos. Nasnan b'kalkala. The Tanna Kama goes on to say, if he places the basket, a kalkal is a basket, and he hangs it on the elon, on the tree, even if it's going to be above Asar Tfachim in the tree, it's a valid Eruv, Divrei Rebbe. These are the words of Rebbe, he's the Tanna Kama. The Rabbanan say any place where you cannot actually take the Eruv, then it's going to be invalid. So the Gemara now explains and analyzes the Brisa. Where are the Chacham saying their statement when they said any place where you cannot take the Eruv, it's an invalid Eruv? If you're going to suggest it's going on the seifa of this statement of Rebbe, the Hainu, when it says the kalkala, if it's going to be on top, hung on the elon, then even above Asar Tfachim, you can go ahead and take the Eruv. Then Leima Kesavre Rabbanan Stadin Asurin. Then let us say that the Rabbanan hold Stadin is Asur. In other words, why is it that the Rabbanan say over here that it's a problem? Because it will be Mishtamish Bi'ilon. Well, Mishtamish Be'ilon here is not Mishtamish Be'ilon, because you're not taking it from the Elon itself, you're taking the Eruv from the basket, which is in the Elon. So therefore it's called Stadin. And there's a machlokes whether it's Stadin is Asurin or Mutarin. So here we would have the opinion of the Chachamim stating that it's Asur. And the Gemara over there doesn't bring this opinion of the Rabban, doesn't bring this Brisa as a support that Stadin is Asurin. So it's not mashma that that's what the Rabban are going on over here. Ella Aresha, rather the Rabban are commenting on the ratio of this brisa. When Rebbe stated that it's going to be an Eruv that's lamata me'asar tfachim, it's a good Eruv, Only it's also litlo, you cannot take it on Shabbos, because on Shabbos you cannot go ahead and mishtamish be'ilan, only during Ben HaShmashos. On that, Rabbanan said, then it's not going to be a valid Eruv either, because the Rabbanan hold that you cannot go ahead and mishtamish be'ilan during Ben HaShmashos either. So now we found where the source of Rebbe and the Rabbanan are. That Rebbe again says when it comes to a shvus, in this case being mishtamish be'ilan, that they were not goyzer during Ben HaShmashos, and therefore you can take the Eruv from the tree on Ben HaShmashos, and the Eruv is a valid Eruv. But the Rabbanan say, no, we don't say that they were not goyzer Ben HaShmashos. Ask the Gemara, hi Elon hechidami. Let's understand what is the case of this Elon. Il de les be arba makom peturhu. If the Elon is not a space of 4 tfachim, whereby it's a makom petur, so therefore, if it's a makom petur, even if it's above asar tfachim, it's a makom petur. Makom petur, you can go from makom petur to the Rishus Harabim, and therefore it should be valid. V'di is bei arba, and if you want to say that indeed we're talking about it is a space of 4 tfachim, and that's where the Eruv is situated in the Elon, that is a space of 4 tfachim, then kinasnu bekalkala mayhave. What would it help to put a basket, to hang a basket on that Elon of 4 tfachim wide? The basket would have the same designation of the Elon. Just as the Elon is a Rishus HaYachid, so to the basket would also then be a Rishus HaYachid. Thereby you would not be able to then take the Eruv from the Kalkala, which is Rishus HaYachid, down to the Rishus HaRabim. Omar Ravina explains, Reisha the Isbei Arba. The Reisha of the Mishnah is talking about indeed where it's a space of Arba, but the Seifa the Lesbei Arba. The Seifa is talking about where there's a space of Arba. In other words, where the Kalkala is situated is not Arba. Ukalkala mashlimasu le'arba, but the kalkala, the basket, it then is mashlim, it completes the space to be arba. In other words, this opinion requires that the eruv be on a area of arba tfachim. So even though the tree itself is not arba tfachim, but because the basket is mashlim to be a space of arba, it's valid, as the Gemara will explain now. On top of Lamed Gimel Amud Beis, Verebi Sover like Rabbi Meir, Vesover like Rabbi Yehuda. And Rabbi holds both like the opinion of Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda as follows. Sover like Rabbi Meir. He holds like Rabbi Meir, the Omar Choykikin Lahashlim. Rabbi Meir holds Choykikin Lahashlim. We've seen Rabbi Meir's opinion before in the first parak of the Masechta that talks about over there an arch. If a person wants to put a mezuzah on a doorpost, the problem is it's not a classical doorpost, but rather it's an arch. So to have a valid required doorpost to put a mezuzah on, you need asar tfachim high and 4 tfachim wide. But this arch is such that before it actually becomes 4 tfachim wide, it arches. So Rabbi Meir is of the opinion that you can say choykikim. You can say that the area can be carved out around the arch where the walls are to then make halachic arba tfachim. And therefore the mezuzah would be valid. So too over here. Over here we would say also choykikim, that the basket will then also then be carved into, let's say, the Elon, whereby it's going to be 4 tfachim. This sover like Rabbi Yehuda, and also Rabbi holds like Rabbi Yehuda, that you require a space for the Eruv to be placed on arba tfachim, as follows. The sover like Rabbi Yehuda, the Omar ba'inan Eruv al gabe makom arba veleka. And he holds like Rabbi Yehuda that you have over here that you require that the Eruv be placed on a space of 4 tfachim, and over here, since the Elon without the basket is not 4 tfachim, and you need only the basket, so therefore to be mashlim you have the area of 4 tfachim whereby the Eruv can be placed over here in the karkola and it will be valid.